welcome back to TC Search 1.0 for Biology course. This is the continuation lesson that we had about homeostasis, and remember that this is the part 2, so you may want to look back to for the first part of the video. Alright, so for today we will be focusing on the disruption to homeostasis, and I want you to think all the examples that you may want to tell me that or comment down below in this video that would disrupt or have a failure to our body. So if when you think about both positive and negative feedback loops being affected, there would be probably a homeostatic imbalance, and this would result to a lot of complications to our body. And remember that if there is a failure to homeostasis, we are unable, or our body is not able to to return to its normal state. And remember our keyword that homeostasis is the ability of a system or living organism to adjust its internal environment to maintain a stable equilibrium, such as the ability um, of of humans to maintain their constant body temperature. All right. So last time we talked about the immune system, and there are many diseases that might cause the failure of homeostasis. And anything that prevents positive or negative feedback from working correctly could lead to disease if the mechanism of disruption becomes strong enough. So aging is a general example of disease as a result of homeostatic imbalance. So as an organism ages, it weakens the feedback loops, gradually result in an unstable internal environment. So this lack of homeostasis increases the risk for illness and is responsible for the physical challenges or changes that are associated with aging. And heart failure is the result of negative feedback mechanisms that become overwhelmed, allowing destructive positive feedback mechanisms to compensate for the failed feedback mechanisms. And this leads to high blood pressure and enlargement of the heart, which eventually becomes too stiff to pump blood effectively, resulting in heart failure. And you know, heart failure is a severe disease and it can be fatal. Alright, so in the previous video or part 1 of homeostasis, we said that the homeostasis is being controlled by negative feedback. So anything that interferes with the feedback mechanisms can and usually will disrupt homeostasis. In the case of the human body, this may lead to disease. So let's move on to our next slide. So diabetes is the most common example that I would tell you in this video. And it is caused by broken feedback loop involving the hormone insulin. And the broken feedback loop makes it difficult or impossible for the body to bring high blood sugar down to the healthy level. So let's take a look at the blood regulation. So blood sugar levels are controlled by two hormones, insulin and glucagon. So insulin decreases the concentration of glucose in the body, and this is being produced by pancreas. All right. So this is a zoom picture of a pancreas producing insulin or releasing insulin. So after you eat your meal, your blood glucose levels rises because you're consuming a lot of nutrients. And there are a lot of sugars that we eat every day, so that is why our glucose increases. And it triggers the secretion of insulin being produced from the B cells or beta cells. Insulin acts as a signal that triggers the cells of the body, such as fat and muscle cells, to take up glucose for use as fuel. Insulin also causes glucose to be converted into glycogen. Over here. So glucose is removed from the blood and is stored as glycogen in the liver. This is when after you eat, remember that. So this is a storage molecule in the liver. So both processes pull sugar out of the blood, bringing blood sugar levels down, reducing insulin secretion, and returning the whole system to homeostasis. Over here, normal blood glucose level. All right, so let's talk about this one, the glucagon release. So glucagon does the opposite. It increases the concentration of glucose in the blood if you haven't eaten for a while. Your blood glucose levels falls, triggering the release of glucagon from another group of pancreatic cells, which is the alpha cells. And glucagon acts on the liver, and it is broken down into glucose and released in the blood, causing glycogen to be broken down, as I said, and it will cause blood sugar levels to go up, to back up, and this reduces glucagon secretion and brings the system back to homeostasis. So the second one is when you haven't eaten for a while, and glycogen in the liver would be broken down and released in the blood, broken down into glucose and will be released in the blood. So this glycogen, as you store in your liver, it will give you like extra um extra sugar in your body to keep you to keep your body functioning. So let's move on with that. Okay, so before I move on, I just wanted to like go back to this first slide, that there are differences between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. All right. And all right, so diabetes symptoms in general are caused by rising blood sugars. So the general symptoms of diabetes include increased hunger, increased loss, frequent urination, blurry vision, extreme fatigue, sores that don't heal, and there are specific symptoms for men. They lose muscle strength, and for women with diabetes can also have symptoms such as urinary tract infections, yeast infections, dry and itchy skin. And you can take a look at over here that I added some details that you should remember between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. And I'm going to show you specific symptoms that only includes in type 1 diabetes. Over here, you can take a screenshot or pause this video and take notes. All right. So for type 1 diabetes, all the factors or symptoms that are checked includes the type 1 diabetes, and it may result to mood changes. For type 2 diabetes, all of these symptoms that are checked may cause recurring infections. This is because elevated glucose levels make it harder for the body to heal. And when you search up diabetes on Google, some pictures may have like, oh, this person don't have like a thumb, or their foot is being cut off. It's because their body cells doesn't repair the certain cells that working to grow your feet there, right? So the doctors had to cut off your leg if that infection doesn't heal or repair. All right, so there are some causes of diabetes that is associated with each type of diabetes. So in type 1 diabetes, doctors don't exactly know what causes it, and for some reason, the immune system mistakenly attacks and destroys insulin producing beta cells in the pancreas. And also, genes may play a role in some people. It's also possible that a virus sets off the immune system to attack. So your body is mistakenly attacking insulin in type 1 diabetes. It might be a cause, but some doctors are not sure exactly what is the cause. But on type 2 diabetes, it would be a combination of genetics and lifestyle factors. So being overweight or obese increases your risk too. Carrying extra weight, especially in your belly, makes your cells more resistant to the effects of insulin in your blood sugar. So this condition runs in families, and family members share genes that make them more likely to get the type 2 diabetes and to become overweight. And there are also risk factors about diabetes. And for type 1 diabetes, you're more likely to get this kind of disease if you are a child or teenager, or if your parents or siblings have this type of condition, or maybe you carry certain genes that are linked to to diabetes. And for type 2 diabetes, your risk for this one is or overweight, and this is involved to older people ages 45, and your parent or sibling have this type of condition. If you are not physically active, if you have pre-diabetes before, people might have high blood pressure or high cholesterol. All right, so those are the risk factors. So diabetes have also complications, and high blood sugar damages organs and tissues throughout your body. The higher the higher the blood sugar level you have, the longer you live with it, the greater risk for complications for you to occur. So the complications associated with diabetes include heart disease, heart attack, and stroke. We also have hearing loss, foot damage, as I explained earlier, skin conditions, depression, and dementia. Oh, also, vision loss might be a complications that would occur. All right, so let's move on for the treatment for diabetes. So the most common treatment for diabetes that is recommended to your doctor is insulin. All right, so This is the main treatment for type 1 diabetes, and it replaces the hormone your body isn't able to produce. That's for type 1 diabetes. And for type 2 diabetes, diet and exercise can help some people manage this type of condition. And if lifestyle changes aren't enough to lower your blood sugar, you'll need to take medication. And these drugs lower your blood sugar level in a variety of ways. And remember that insulin is recommended or given to your doctor, and sometimes there are different types of insulin. You inject it, you pump or inhale it. All right, so let's talk about diet and exercise. So although type 1 diabetes can be managed with lifestyle changes, eating a healthy diet regularly and breaking a sweat can provide a big benefit for those with type 2 diabetes. Alright, so for type 1 diabetes, your blood sugar level rises or falls based on the types of food you eat. Starchy or sugary foods make blood sugar levels rise rapidly. Protein and fat cause more gradual increases, and your medical team may recommend you that limit the amount of carbohydrates you eat each day. You'll also need to balance your carb intake with your insulin doses, and work with a dietitian who can help you design a diabetes meal plan. Getting the right balance of protein, fat, and carbs can help you control your blood sugar. All right. So remember, healthy eating is a central part of managing diabetes. And in some cases, changing your diet may be enough to control this disease. So for type 2 diabetes, eating the right types of food can both control your blood sugar and help you lose any excess weight. Carb counting is an important part of eating type 2 for type 2 diabetes, and a dietitian can help you figure out how many grams of carbohydrates to eat each meal. So in order to keep your blood sugar level steady, try to eat small meals throughout the day. Emphasize healthy foods such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, um, poultry, fish, olive oils, or nuts, the healthy fats. And certain other foods can undermine efforts to keep your blood sugar in control. All right. So what else? Oh, we have glucose meter over here. So this treatment starts with you at home, where you'll test your glucose every day based on what levels. You'll know how or what and when to eat. And this one is like you need to press it on your index finger, and a little point of blood um will go onto this and determines a certain number if you have diabetes or not, or if your glucose level is higher or lower. All right, so for oral medicines for type 2 diabetes, this may be required to take in some medical pills, but you should always remember that you should it's your responsibility to go visit your doctor. All right, so that concludes our lesson for today, and just wait for part 3 of this video. And thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.